My mom left me and dad when I was 7 and disappeared for 21 years. Suddenly, she knocked on my door with my spoiled half-brother, demanding $68,000 for his college. He added, "I need a car and a new phone." So I made one call. "Well, let's go. My name is Kira and I'm 28 years old. I work as a programmer at an IT startup in Fairmont, Washington. But getting here wasn't easy. When I was 7, my mother left. Her name was Delora. She walked out on me and my dad, Grant, for another man. Just like that. One day she was there. The next she was packing her bags. The divorce was quick and brutal. My mother told the court she didn't want to raise me. She said I should stay with my dad. She didn't want custody. She didn't want visitation. She just wanted out. My dad could have asked for child support. Any lawyer would have told him to, but he didn't. Pride, I guess. He figured he'd manage on his own. And manage he did barely. After the divorce, my mother disappeared. She moved to another state, married her new guy, and had a son named Caden. I found out about all this from my aunt, my mother's older sister. My aunt didn't approve of what her sister did. She stayed in touch with my dad and with me. She was good to us. My mother never called, never visited. Once a year I'd get a birthday card in the mail with a few sentences written inside. Generic stuff like, "Hope you're doing well. Love, Mom." Felt hollow. I knew she was just going through the motions, pretending to care. My dad owned a small diner. It barely made any money. On a good day, after paying for food supplies, utilities, and employee wages, he'd have maybe $130 left, sometimes less. We were always behind on rent, always scraping by. I ate at the diner most days. Whatever customers left on their plates, that's what we ate. My dad did the same thing. We couldn't afford to waste food or buy groceries like normal people. When I turned 13, I started working. First as a babysitter for neighbors. Then I got a job at a store stocking shelves. Every penny I made went to my dad for rent and electricity bills. At 14, my aunt did something that changed my life. She gave me a laptop, a nice one. Then she paid for me to take programming courses. I was good at it, really good. I loved how logical it was, how everything made sense if you just understood the rules. My dad encouraged me. He always said I needed to learn as much as possible, that there was no such thing as unnecessary knowledge. So I joined a programming group at school. I spent every free moment coding. In high school I studied hard. Really hard. I won a full scholarship to the State University for computer science. Full tuition covered. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. I stayed at home with my dad to save money on housing, but I still needed to pay for textbooks and food. So I worked. I got a job as a waitress at a campus diner, working after classes. Then in the evenings, I worked as a freelancer building programs for clients remotely. I woke up at 5 in the morning. I went to bed after midnight. I counted every single cent. While other students were partying, dating, having fun, I was working. After I graduated, I got a job offer from an IT startup I'd worked with as a student. They were based in Fairmont. I moved there, leaving my dad behind for the first time in my life. The money was good, really good, better than I'd ever imagined. When I got my first paycheck and realized I could pay rent and still have money left over, I almost cried. I went shopping. I bought new clothes, fashionable stuff, not thrift store clearance items. I bought groceries without checking sale prices. I went to restaurants on random weeknights, not just holidays. Felt unreal. As soon as my income stabilized, I started sending my dad $900 every month. I helped him pay off the diner's debts. I paid for repairs when the roof leaked. I bought him a used car when his old one died. I got him a new refrigerator for the diner. 5 years after moving to Fairmont, something incredible happened. The startup I worked for took off. I'd invested $9,000 of my savings into the company early on. When they had their big success, my investment turned into $260,000. I was shocked. I sat at my desk staring at my bank account, unable to believe the numbers were real. I bought an apartment, a real apartment in downtown Fairmont. I got a mortgage and made a huge down payment with my windfall. Then I furnished it with modern furniture. Everything was new. Everything was mine. I sent my dad $27,000 to pay off a loan he'd taken out for the diner. When we video called after he paid it off, he cried. He told me he was proud of me. I made it. After everything, I'd actually made it. One evening in October, someone knocked on my door. I opened it and froze. It was my mother. I hadn't seen her in 21 years. She was standing there with a teenage boy. Tall, lanky, glued to his phone. "Kira," my mother said, smiling. "Surprise." I just stared at her. "This is Caden," she said, gesturing to the boy. "Your brother." Caden barely looked up from his phone. He mumbled something that might have been a greeting. "How did you find me?" I asked. "Your aunt gave me your address," she said. "I wanted to see you. We just moved to Fairmont. I thought it would be nice to be closer to you." I didn't know what to say. I stepped aside and let them in. We sat in the living room. My mother looked around at everything, taking it all in. The furniture, the decorations, the view from the windows. "You've done so well," she said. "I'm so proud of you. I've missed you so much." He nodded. I didn't believe a word of it. She kept talking. Empty words about how she thought about me all the time, how she wanted to reconnect, how family was so important. Then she got to the point. "Caden is going to college soon," she said. "He wants to study computer science, just like you. The tuition is $68,000. We need your help. About $3,000 a month." I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. Before I could respond, Caden looked up from his phone. "This apartment is pretty small for someone who makes good money," he said. "And your car's weak. You live kind of boring, honestly." I stared at him. He said it like it was a fact. Like I owed him an explanation for how I lived my life. "I need time to think about this," I said. My mother smiled. "Of course. Take all the time you need." They left a few minutes later. Then I sat on my couch for a long time. I couldn't process what had just happened. 21 years of silence, and now this. Called my dad. "She came here," I said. "Mom showed up at my apartment." There was silence on the other end. Then he spoke. "What did she want?" "Money for Caden's college. $68,000. Another pause. "That's your decision to make," he said carefully. "Whether you want to help them or not, whether you want her in your life. I can't tell you what to do." I appreciated that. He wasn't pushing me either way. After we hung up, I called my aunt. "Why did you give her my address?" I asked. "Oh, honey," my aunt said. She sounded worried. "Your mother called me. She said she wanted to reconnect with you, to make things right. I thought maybe she'd changed. I'm sorry if I made a mistake." "It's okay," I said. "I'm not mad at you." And I wasn't. My aunt had always been good to me. She meant well. The next morning my phone rang. It was my mother. "Good morning, sweetie," she said. "Have you thought about what we discussed?" "I'm still thinking," I said. "Well, don't take too long," she said. "Caden needs to know soon." She hung up before I could respond. That evening my aunt sent me a text message with a link. "Go look at your mother's page. You need to see this." Clicked the link. Took me to my mother's social media profile. The post was right at the top. Posted 2 hours ago. "So happy to announce I finally reconnected with my daughter. Her father kept us apart for so many years, but we finally found each other again. She's such a successful programmer and has agreed to help her little brother go to college. I'm so proud of both my children. Family is everything." I read it 3 times. My hands were shaking. She was lying about everything. My dad never kept us apart. She abandoned me. She never tried to contact me. And I never agreed to help Caden. But now she'd posted it publicly. She told everyone I agreed. I called her immediately. "Take that post down," I said. "Right now. The one where you lied about Dad and lied about me agreeing to help." "I don't think I will," she said. "See, now everyone knows you agreed. All my friends, all our relatives. If you back out now, you'll look really bad, like a liar." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Then I heard Caden's voice in the background. He grabbed the phone from her. "While you're at it," he said, "I need a car, something decent like $31,000, and a new phone, the latest one, about $1,000. I was speechless. "On top of the $68,000 for college," he continued. "You can afford it." "No," I said. "Absolutely not." "You're being selfish," my mother said, taking the phone back. "You have all this money, and you won't help your own family." "You abandoned me," I shouted. "You left when I was 7 years old. You said you didn't want to raise me. You never called. You never visited. And now you show up asking for money." "That's in the past," she said coldly. "You need to let it go." "You're not my family," I said. "You're a stranger. You're going to regret this," she hissed. "I promise you that." She hung up. I blocked her number immediately. Few days passed. I thought maybe that was the end of it. Then my director called me into his office. "Kira, I need to talk to you about something," he said. He looked uncomfortable. "A woman came to see me yesterday. She said she was your mother." My stomach dropped. "She was crying," he continued. "She told me some story about how you're refusing to help your brother go to college. She asked me to talk to you, to convince you to help them." "What did you say?" I asked. "I told her to leave," he said. "This is a workplace, not family counseling. But I wanted you to know." I thanked him and went back to my desk. I was furious. She'd come to my workplace. She was trying to get to me through my boss. Over the next few days she sent me messages. I'd unblocked her number by accident when I was cleaning up my contacts, and the messages started flooding in. "Please, Kira, your brother needs this. You're his only hope for a good education. Don't you care about family? If you don't help, I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person you are." I ignored all of them. A week later there was a knock on my door. I looked through the peephole and saw my mother and Caden standing there. I almost didn't open it. But I thought maybe I could finally end this, set clear boundaries, tell them to leave me alone for good. Open the door. "Hi, honey," my mother said, smiling like nothing was wrong. "Can we come in?" Against my better judgment, I let them in. We sat in the living room. This time my mother didn't mention money. She talked about the weather, about Fairmont, about how nice my apartment was. "Make us some tea, please," she asked. I went to the kitchen to make tea and sandwiches. I was in there for maybe 5 minutes. When I came back, Caden was sitting at my desk. My laptop was open in front of him. "What are you doing?" I demanded. "Nothing," he said. "Just looking." "Get out," I said. "Both of you. Get out of my apartment right now." They left, acting offended and hurt. After they were gone, I sat down at my desk with my laptop. Something felt wrong. I opened my virus scanner and ran a full system check. Took 20 minutes. When it finished, the results made my blood run cold. There was a keylogger installed, a program designed to record everything I typed. Passwords, bank account logins, emails, everything. And it had been installed about 10 minutes ago, right when Caden was sitting at my desk. I'm a programmer. Tracking down malware is part of what I do. I found every trace of the program, removed it, and changed all my passwords, banking app, email, every online account I had. I could have called the police right then. I probably should have. But I didn't. Instead, I called my lawyer. His name was Damon Rourke. He'd helped me with my apartment purchase. "I need to file a restraining order," I told him. "Tell me everything," he said. So I did. Damon worked fast. Within 2 days, we had everything ready to file. I gave him the report from my laptop. It showed exactly what Caden had done, the malware he'd installed, the timestamps, everything documented. I also gave him screenshots of all the messages my mother had sent, the demands for money, the threats, the lies. "This is more than enough," Damon said. "We have clear evidence of attempted fraud and harassment." The court hearing was scheduled for 3 weeks later. At the hearing, Damon presented everything. The laptop analysis, the messages, the timeline of events. The judge looked at the evidence carefully. Then he looked at my mother and Caden, who sat on the other side of the courtroom with their own lawyer. This is serious, the judge said. Installing malware to access someone's financial information is a crime. My mother's lawyer tried to argue that it was a misunderstanding, that Caden was just a kid who didn't know what he was doing. He's 18, the judge said. That's an adult. The judge granted the restraining order, permanent. My mother and Caden were prohibited from contacting me or coming within 500 feet of my home or workplace. Felt relieved. Finally, it was over. A few days after the hearing, I was at work when I got a notification from my bank. An alert on my phone. Attempted transaction blocked. Two-factor authentication required. I opened my banking app. Someone had tried to transfer $13,000 from my account. The two-factor authentication had stopped it, but the attempt was there in my history. Called Damon immediately. They tried to steal money from my account, I told him. Just now, 15 minutes ago. Don't touch anything, he said. I'm filing a police report. The police investigated. They traced the attempted transaction back to an IP address. It took them less than a week to figure out whose computer it came from. My mother's laptop. The police called me to give me the news. We have enough evidence to press charges, the detective said. This goes beyond the restraining order. This is attempted fraud. We'll be filing charges. Your mother will likely face probation, possibly jail time depending on the case. I thanked him and hung up. Part of me felt guilty. She was my mother after all. But then I remembered everything she'd done, how she'd abandoned me, manipulated me, and tried to steal from me. She brought this on herself. Few months passed. My mother was given probation. No jail time, but she had a criminal record now. Caden never went to college. And according to my aunt, they both left Fairmont. Nobody knew where they went. I didn't care. I just wanted them gone from my life. I took some time off work. I needed a break. I went back to my hometown, back to my dad. His diner was doing well now, really well. The money I'd sent him had helped him pay off debts, make repairs, upgrade equipment. He was actually making a profit. We had dinner together every night that week. We talked about everything, my job, his diner, life in general. I'm proud of you, he said one night. For everything you've done, for how you handled your mother. I visited my aunt too. She lived about an hour away. We sat in her kitchen drinking coffee. She looked tired. I need to tell you something, she said. About your mother. She told me she'd called her months before the legal trouble, saying she was sick and needed $9,000 for medical bills. My aunt gave it to her. Course it was a lie. When confronted later, Delora admitted she wasn't sick at all. She'd needed the money for something else. She wouldn't even say what. Did she ever pay you back? Yes. No, my aunt said quietly. And when I asked her to, she stopped talking to me. Blocked my number. I reached across the table and took her hand. I'm sorry, I said. Don't be, she said. I should have known better. But because of what she did, I made a decision. She stood up and walked to a drawer. She pulled out some papers and brought them back to the table. I had my lawyer draft a new will, she said. Everything I have goes to you when I die. My house, my savings, everything. Not to your mother. Not to Caden. Just you. You're the only real family I have left. Hugged her. We both cried a little. When I got back to Fairmont, I started seeing a therapist. I'd been thinking about it for a while and finally made an appointment. Her name was Dr. Elena Porter. She was in her 50s. Calm, patient, and professional. We talked about my mother, the abandonment, how it shaped my childhood, and about the recent events. I saw her every week for months. Slowly, things got easier. I stopped feeling guilty about cutting my mother off. I stopped wondering if I should have handled things differently. I also started thinking about the future, what I wanted to do with my life and my money. I was doing well financially. My investments were paying off, and I was making a solid income at work. So I decided to give some of it away. I found a foundation that supported kids from low-income families, offering scholarships, mentorship, and training programs. They helped kids like I used to be. I donated $45,000. When the foundation director called to thank me, I told her I understood what those kids were going through. Been there. I knew what it was like to count every penny, to work multiple jobs, to wonder if you'd ever make it out. This is incredible, she said. You're changing lives. Someone helped me once, I said. My aunt gave me a laptop and paid for programming courses. Changed everything. I want to do the same for other kids. My dad started visiting me in Fairmont more often. Once a month, he'd drive up and stay for the weekend. We'd go out to dinner, walk around the city, and just spend time together. My aunt called me regularly. We talked for hours about everything and nothing. They were my real family. Not my mother, not Caden. My dad and my aunt, they were the ones who had always been there. As for my mother and Caden, I had no idea where they were or what they were doing, and I was completely fine with that. Life settled into a comfortable rhythm after everything that happened. Work was going well. I was leading a new project at the startup, developing software for a major client. The challenge kept me engaged, and the team I worked with was solid. My therapy sessions with Dr. Porter continued. We had moved past trauma processing and were now focused on building healthy relationships and setting boundaries in all areas of my life. I kept investing in startups. Some failed, but others succeeded. My portfolio was growing steadily. I wasn't rich by any means, but I was comfortable. More than comfortable. Actually, I started thinking about what to do with the extra income. I didn't need a bigger apartment or a fancier car. I had everything I needed. So I decided to give more away. I contacted the same foundation I donated to before, the one that helped kids from low-income families. I'd like to set up a recurring donation, I told the director. Something ongoing, not just a one-time thing. That's wonderful, she said. How much were you thinking? $4,000 a month, I said. The foundation sent me updates every quarter. Photos of scholarship recipients, success stories, kids who'd graduated college, who'd gotten good jobs, who'd broken the cycle of poverty. Felt good. Really good. My dad came to visit in the spring. He stayed for a whole week this time. The diner's doing great, he said over dinner one night. Best year we've ever had. I'm glad, I said. You deserve it after everything. I've been thinking, he said, about retiring in a few years. Selling the diner and taking it easy. Maybe I'll move out here, be closer to you. I'd like that, I said, and I meant it. Having him nearby would be wonderful. My aunt's health started declining that summer. Nothing serious, just the normal wear and tear of getting older. She was 72 now. I started visiting her more often. Once a month I'd fly back home and spend the weekend with her. We'd sit in her kitchen like we always did, drinking coffee and talking. I'm glad you're doing well, she said during one visit. Your mother. She never understood what she had. She threw away a wonderful daughter. I have you and Dad, I said. That's all the family I need. I won't be around forever, she said. But I'm glad I got to see you succeed, see you happy. Don't talk like that, I said. You're going to be around for a long time. She smiled. Maybe. But when I'm gone you'll be taken care of. The house, the savings, it's all yours. I know, I said softly. Thank you. Work offered me another promotion that fall. Director of Engineering. It came with a significant salary increase and more responsibility. I accepted without hesitation. My team threw me a celebration party at a local bar. We drank, laughed, and talked about future projects. You've earned this, my colleague Sierra said. You work harder than anyone I know. I learned early, I said. Nothing comes easy. Well, you make it look easy now, she said, grinning. As the year came to a close, I reflected on everything that had happened. My mother showing up had been a nightmare at first. The manipulation, the lies, the attempted theft. All of it had been terrible. But in a strange way, it had also brought closure. I'd finally confronted the abandonment that had haunted me my whole life. I'd set clear boundaries, protected myself, and come out stronger. I still had no idea where my mother and Caden were. I'd heard through the grapevine that they'd moved somewhere down south, but I didn't know for sure. And honestly, I didn't care. They were out of my life permanently. My real family was my dad and my aunt. They were the ones who had stood by me, who had supported me, who had loved me unconditionally. I continued therapy, learning more about myself each session. Dr. Porter helped me understand that my worth wasn't tied to productivity or success, that I was valuable simply for being me. It was a hard lesson to learn after spending my whole life proving myself. The foundation kept sending me updates. More success stories, more lives changed. I thought about those kids often, about how a little help at the right time could change everything. My aunt had given me a laptop and paid for programming courses when I was 14. That one act of kindness had set me on the path to where I was now. I wanted to be that person for other kids, the one who gave them a chance. My investments continued to do well. I was financially secure. Probably for life if I stayed smart. But money had never been the goal. Security had been the goal. Freedom had been the goal. The ability to help my dad and aunt, the ability to give back. I'd achieved all of that. As I sat in my apartment one December evening, looking out at the Fairmont skyline, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. My life was mine. My choices were mine. My future was mine. And nobody was ever going to take that away from me. Not my mother. Not anyone.